Hi everyone. Today we're talking about conversation training therapy with Jenny and Giselle. So, when is this approach appropriate? It is appropriate for voice disorders related to muscle tension, mid-membranous vocal fold lesions, or inefficient use. Also, for those who have difficulty projecting their voice related to behavioral constraints, limited time for therapy. And this is most successful for patients who speak at a conversational level, are stimulable, have intact cognition, can hear and feel the difference between their voice, and it may not be appropriate for those who have something like vocal fold paralysis.
So first we have motor learning, and this approach focuses on motor learning theory foundation. So the client, the clinician are going to focus on having real conversation instead of using exercises that are isolated or drills to increase motor learning. We're going to be focusing on whole practice learning. Patients are having real conversations and practicing speed, control, and phrasing to practice all the parts that you would have in conversational speech. And we're going to be focusing on cognitive effort. The patients are becoming aware of their speech and they're engaging in speech that is spontaneous, which helps increase motor learning. We're going to be focusing on contextual relevancy. The patients are engaging in real life tasks that resemble conversations that the patients would actually have in real life. We're going to be focusing on salience and specificity. We're going to be not using non-speech exercises such as drills because it would not resemble real life conversation for the client. And we're going to be using schema therapy and we're going to have the conversations and they're going to vary greatly. And we're going to change the practice conditions such as the scheduling of the practice for the client. So, when we're guiding patients through CTT, CTT focuses exclusively on the voice awareness and production in patient-driven conversations without the use of a traditional therapeutic hierarchy. Clinicians typically start with clear speech, but since this is not a hierarchy, they can change the order of the components as they would like. Under clear speech, we're going to be telling the client as a clinician to produce crisp, clear consonants and focus on that kinesthetic feedback. Second, we're going to be focusing on auditory and kinesthetic awareness. So we're going to be asking the client to focus on the sound and the feel of their voice. We'll be saying something like, notice how that felt or how that sounded, as opposed to instructing them to drop their jaw. Third, we have negative practice. And by having the client switch between the old and the new voice, this facilitates ownership of their voice and behavioral learning. Fourth, we have rapport building. And by using rapport building, we're going to have patient-driven conversations during the sessions. Fifth, we have embedded basic training gestures into speech. We're going to be telling the client to focus on the anterior vibrations in the front of their mouth during this approach. And six, we're going to have prosody, loudness, and timing and incorporate that into our therapy sessions with the client.
Ms. Giselle, I'm your speech therapist, Jenny, working with you today. So, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Okay, so today we're going to be working on conversations. We're going to work on clear speech. So, I want you to tell me a little bit about the music that you like, but I want you to focus on crisp consonants and your articulation, okay?
I love Tori Kelly. I love to go to her concerts.
Okay, great. Great crisp consonants. So the next thing I'm going to work on with her is going to be embedding training gestures. So in this one, we're going to sustain some consonants at the front. Might be a little weird. Something like my name is.
My name is Giselle.
Perfect. Did you feel the anterior vibrations in the front?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing I want to work on with her is going to be the pitch. Okay, so next I want you to speak in a robot-like voice and say that you like going to Tori Kelly concerts.
I like going to Tori Kelly concerts.
Okay, next thing we want to do is think about lifting your voice. I like going to Tori Kelly concerts.
I like going to Tori Kelly concerts.
Great. So now I want you to combine and vary your intonation. I like going to Tori Kelly concerts.
I like going to Tori Kelly concerts.
Great, and using both the low and high pitch in that sentence. So the next thing I want to work on with her is going to be timing and loudness. So next we're going to work on the timing and loudness, okay? So I want you to think of a sentence you may say loudly.
Let's go to Jason's Center.
Okay, I want you to say that loud and quickly.
Let's go to Jason's Center.
Nice. Now I want you to do that, but slow and loud.
Let's go to Jason's Center.
Okay, which one was easier for you?
The slower one.
Yeah, usually whenever we slow down, that helps out like project us and do our loudness, okay? So another thing that I want to work on with her is going to be the auditory and kinesthetic feedback. So let's go ahead and focus on the feel and the sound of your voice, okay? I want you to talk about the coffee shop, but I want you to use your initial voice that you complained of, okay?
I love going to Fireproof Coffee.
Okay. How would you say that feels and sounds?
It sounds rough and it feels tight in my throat.
Okay. All right, we're going to label these voices. How would you label this voice as?
Rough.
Okay, rough voice. Right, now I want you to say that again, but I want you to use clear speech.
I like going to Fireproof Coffee.
All right, how do you say that sounds and feels?
It sounds better. It's not as tight in my throat, and I feel the vibrations in the front.
Okay, we're going to come up with a label for it.
Smooth.
Okay, so we're going to use these labels, smooth and rough voice. The next thing I want to work on is going to be negative practice. So next I want you to alternate between your smooth and rough voice. Thumbs up means use your smooth voice. Thumbs down means use your rough voice, okay? So tell me a little bit about your student life.
I'm a student at Loma Linda. I'm in the Communication Sciences and Disorders program, and I love the program because I love the professors and how they support their students and how they give a lot of.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to interrupt you there. Would you say you used two different voices in that conversation?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah. So a big part of that is taking ownership of your voice and building that behavioral training. Okay. Thank you for working with me today. And these are our references.